Hello everyone and welcome to this video which was highly requested by you. I got a lot of questions after my initial review of this APC unit. There are some things about it. For instance, it's written that it's sealed and the battery is non-replaceable, and we are going to address that. Also, my unit has failed in about 1 year and a few months. Or something like that. You can check my review date of this UPS. It has worked since then until now. It's 1 year and something. Anyway, it doesn't fail completely. It hasn't failed completely. Actually, the battery failed. So today I'm going to take the opportunity to see if the battery has really failed, try to replace it, even though it says that it's not replaceable. So you should throw this away and buy a new one. That's the strategy. Also, I'm going to actually try to upgrade the battery because this UPS unit has a kind of dark secret. And also we are going to discuss why the battery has failed so quickly. So you can see it still starts with the original battery, but it will work for just a very short amount of time. You can see it's not plugged in, and it will shut down if you have this connected to your PC and you are using the provided software. It's going to tell you that the battery test has failed. Also, if you put this under load, it will shut down right away and it will damage your computer files because it's like unplugging it while it's running. So it's no longer in UPS, it's just an alarm buzzer when power goes off. So they say that this is not being able to take apart. It's a sealed unit, just to buy a new one or take it to APC so they can sell you a battery that is expensive as this unit. Actually, to take this apart, you are going to need two screwdrivers. One is a bit more specialized. You are going to need a very thin and long screwdriver. It should be a Phillips head screwdriver, but I didn't have one so long because the screws are somewhere on the bottom there. So I'm going to try to use this very long one, and you can see it goes almost all the way in. This is just a flat screwdriver, but it's doing the job, so it's okay for me. And that's the screw. You can see it's head design, and with the flat one it just fits perfectly. So you have 4 screws to take out, and another one here. It takes a bit of play around with the screwdriver, especially if it's not the correct one, but you get the idea, and the screws come out really easy. And you still have one more screw here, and you are going to also take this out. And now I'm going to use my favorite method, which is called crack opening. You are going to put this on the side, just like that, and you are going to start from the bottom. Just take this a bit out and look how it comes out, and then use the part here. You see it has a small notch here where the screw was, so that should also come out. Let's try, and that was it. Now we are going to see where are the most cables are on this part. So I'm going to put it this way, and now I'm going to actually lift the cover, and there you are. Yes, this is a sealed unit. You cannot open it up. And as you can see, there is a lot of space in here. That's the battery, and here comes the dark secret. This UPS is sold in several variants, and they all use the same plastic cover. Of course, there are some internal differences, such as more MOSFETs for higher power, bigger transformer, and you can see there it has some screw pattern, so you can actually fit a bigger transformer. Also, of course, it has place here, a lot of space. So this bracket that holds the battery, you can see there is almost twice the space in there. So you can probably actually insert a larger battery or 2 batteries. So I'm going to take this off. Let's go on now with the diagnostic and repair of this UPS. Then we are going to talk about upgrading the battery. So the bracket has 4 screws, 2 here, and there are also, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there is another one here. It's out. I highly advise you, when you are doing this, not to do it like me, because now I have power on that board. So if I drop a screwdriver there or a screw, it can be over. I can start the fire, make a small explosion, or do something like that. You can actually start by trying to unplug at least one wire from the battery, or take this fuse out. This is something that turns off the battery. You can let me try to use that. So this is a fuse that is connected to the positive wire of the battery. So if you take this out, it disconnects the battery from the board, and now it's a lot more safe in case you do something bad when you are taking this apart. So that's a safety to take in account. And there's the last screw. All right, and the bracket is now out. So what we get inside, it's a APC original battery, high quality. You can buy this with an APC label on it from the APC site as a replacement. I don't know its code, but it's something like 90 euros, which is theft, simply theft. So I'm going to take this battery out. And because this UPS with the diagnostic app said that the battery is out and it's no longer having capacity, we're going to check that, and for that I'm going to use this small tester. This is a very smart meter. It measures the internal resistance of the battery, and that's the best indicator to see if the battery is dead or not, or how good it is. And now I'm going to power this on, and it does a self-test, and now it asks me for CCA. This is called cranking amps. This is not a cranking battery amp, but for reference, usually a 7 amp hour sealed lead acid battery has something like 80 to 120 amp called cranking amperes capacity. This is a 9 amp hour, so this should have something a bit more than 100 amps. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put this at the minimum of 80 amps capacity. No, I want here. Alright, so I'm going to do this that way. So I have here a 0 and I have here an 8. So I have 80 amp set, and now I'm going to press OK and do the test. And it's analyzing the battery, measuring the internal resistance, and let's see what we get. So we get that the battery life is indeed there. This is 40%, 80%, and you can see that my internal resistance of the battery is actually huge at 400, more than 400 milliamp milliohms, and that's a dead battery because that is too great. So in contrast with that, I have here the upgraded battery, the new battery that I'm going to place in, and I'm going to compare that with the old battery. So I'm going to connect the clamps here, going to power this on, and I'm going to actually use here something like 200 amps. So I want to request that this battery has a lot more potential because it's actually new and it's almost twice in size. So if this one should have around 100 and it doesn't have even 80, this should be at least 200. So let's see if this is okay or not. But keep in mind the internal resistance because that is more important. And look at this, it only has 16 milliohm, and of course this shows something like almost 90%, because this doesn't have 200 amps. It's not a car battery. It should have something like maybe 150, 180. So if I actually lower the test capacity here, it's going to be 100%. But that's not so important, because if I power this back on and I'm going to select zero capacity, I can still measure the internal resistance, so I'm not affected by anything. So if I put that on zero, you are going to see the same value for the internal resistance. So this, you can see here, it's the same internal resistance of the battery. Of course, this shows 100%. So you see this battery is indeed dead with that huge internal resistance. Now, the dark secret, the upgrade, you can see that these batteries are actually very similar in size when you look from this position. So they have the same length and they have the same height, but they have different thickness. And because of that, this plastic case can actually accommodate something like about 2 of these batteries stacked one over each other. There is also a 24 volts variant of this UPS. This is on 12 volts. Also, if this helps, the original battery size is 6.5 or 6.6 centimeters wide. It has 9.5 height, and the length is 15.3. So the new one is, of course, 15.3. It has 9. This is a bit taller, actually. Nope, it's the same. It has 9.6, 9.7 something, and it has more on this side, which is of course almost 10. Probably they rated for 9.8 or something. And let's see if this fits. So I'm going to connect the negative terminal, which goes in like that, and look at this. It slides in like it's placed there, and you can also connect the positive terminal, but do that with the battery a bit out so you have enough space. And just like that, it fits like a glove. There's plenty of space. The only single thing that you need to do now is actually to measure this bracket, because it has these indents here that kept this battery pressed. Now you need to measure that if these earrings here stay on that part like this, just measure how much you actually need to cut from these so they hold the new battery in place. Optionally, you can cut them from the surface right away and use some specialized heat resistant foam pad that will sit here and between these, so it will adapt various sizes of batteries. Maybe we get a thicker one, so there's no point measuring it now. That's better to cut them and use something just to hold the battery inside. And now, last but not least, why did it fail? Well, it's actually very simple. These batteries are spill proof because they don't have flowing liquid acid in them. They are maintenance free sealed lead acid. I'm not going to enter all the details. The idea is that it's still a lead acid battery, but the acid, it's not in a free flowing liquid state. It's kind of a gel put into a material, so it's held there, so it's not spillable. The idea is that these batteries are kind of sensitive to heat. You see here that it should not go over 60 degrees centigrade, which is actually too much for these batteries. This transformer, when the UPS it's not running but it's in standby, it generates a tremendous amount of heat because it has this huge iron core and surrounding. This supplies power to the electronics. It always keeps the internal battery charged. So it does several things. So this is always on, regardless if the UPS is actually providing uninterruptible power to your PC because you don't have mains power, or if it's running just on standby, so it's waiting for the power to drop out. So everything that is going through this it also goes through this, so this is powered on all the time. So this generates a lot of heat. It's very big, so here there is a big heat spot, so everything is heated up. Also this is very warm when it runs, so all that heat also soaks into the battery. So the acid from that gel actually starts to evaporate, and that gel dries out, so it increases the battery resistance because the lead plates are actually not having enough acid between them to work. A long time ago I did a video, you can also check that on my channel, where I actually repair this type of battery. If the battery is rather new like this one, you can pop its cap up, you can take the valves out, it has some rubber valves, and you can put some distilled water. The distilled water will combine with the remaining acid, so it creates an electrolyte again, so the gel gets moist again and connects the battery electrodes again. The internal resistance will drop, the battery capacity will increase, and the battery will start to work. You can watch that video. I don't recommend to do that for you because there is acid, there is a lot of things, there are unknowns. If you put too much water, the battery will boil, it will spill acid. Also, it's no longer spill proof, so you don't want to burn your carpet or your hands with acid flowing from this type of batteries. Just take it to recycle, get a new one. Also, don't get an APC battery because you can see this is an APC unit. They didn't even bother to put an APC label over this, so it's just a regular cheap battery made in China. Not that made in China is bad, but this battery only lasted for 1 year, so it's not a good battery. They actually tell you that this battery should run about 5 years into this unit, so it's 5 times less. So this one is of course another made in China battery, but with higher capacity. What you can do to prolong its lifespan, it's actually to be sure that all the airways on both sides are not blocked by anything. So don't put this in a cabinet. Also don't put it right on a carpet. Use something so that this unit is a bit higher in the air, so cold air will flow in. It gets heated by this transformer, so then it goes out on the sides here. So take that into account. So with better cooling, this should last a bit more and to be in some kind of open space. So with the new battery installed, I'm going to adjust the brackets. So I got here a plumber's adjustable wrench, or I don't know how this is called in English, but I'm going to use this because this provides a copious amount of power. So I'm going to properly adjust this easy, just like that, and you are going to see that it's adjusted very easy. So this one is adjusted. I'm going to adjust the other one right away. Thank you APC, you have did a great work for me today, because I'm upgrading the battery capacity that easy. And with those taken out, I don't know if they are properly adjusted. Let's measure. That's perfect. I would have let them a bit longer, but I'm going to use a small foam pad between these and the battery, so it holds it in place so it doesn't jump around. Not that I'm going to play football with this. Alright, so I have also powered this on, connected the app. The app should have here a self-test, so I'm going to run the self-test. It already did a self-test today, but I'm going to run it again. Let's see how this goes. It's going to be okay. And now it's running on battery power, and it's keeping my PC alive with the monitor and some other accessories that are all connected to this uninterruptible power supply. And you can see here the estimated battery time, it's only 10 minutes. And that's rather short, because when I got this it was showing something crazy like 20 minutes. I'm going to actually press the replace battery and it's going to be, look at that, it says that it was from Space Odyssey time, doesn't matter, I'm going to replace it. Then on performance here, you can see that in 4 weeks, this also worked for 3 times and only 5 minutes on battery. So this had a very relaxing life because it hasn't intervened too much, and those times switched on were mostly tests, right? And on current status, you can see here that I'm actually using about 150 watts right now from it. So that's not a lot. The battery is still charging because it's new and it wasn't fully charged before installing it into this unit. So that's going to take a lot of time to get to 100%. And now it's going to take a lot more that is going to take than the regular battery because this has higher capacity. So the charge time, the charge current is the same, so the time will increase. And now I'm going to actually pull out the plug and let's see if the computer will die. And the UPS has turned on. You can see that it's running on battery. Time to shut down is only 5 minutes, but I'm going to let it run a bit and see if other things go bad or not. So for now it's running. The battery it's discharging here 84%. This is of course somehow pre-programmed into the UPS logic, so it doesn't know that I'm actually using a bigger battery, but it will run something. If it says here 2 minutes, it's probably going to be 4 minutes. If it's 4 minutes here, it's going to probably be 8 minutes. We don't care about that time to shut down too much. We are mostly interested in this here, and for now it's discharging properly, and the PC is running, monitor is running, all the accessories that are plugged in are also running, so everything is fine here. But I'm not going to do a full discharge now because the battery is not fully charged, so I'm going to resume the power back on. The power has been restored, you can see here, and the battery is now charging. It's at 77%. Estimated battery time has jumped back to 9 minutes. So I'm going to let this to fully charge and probably do another test. But this no longer turns off when it does the self-test, nor when I unplug it from the mains makes my computer die away. And now it's time to put it back into one single piece. So you are going to fix the bracket back with these screws that you have previously taken off. Also, another indication, an advice, check those plugs, those when they are kind of single-use terminals, because when they are pressed on this battery contacts, they kind of take the shape of those, and these are sometimes thinner, sometimes thicker. They deform those, so use the pliers and squeeze them back so they do very good contact when you are plugging the new battery in. That's very important because the current draw when the UPS was working is very high, so you need to have very good contacts, otherwise it can overheat, you are going to lose power, bad things can happen. You can see there is such a big amount of draw that they actually, instead of using very thick cable, they have used 2 cables for each of those circuits. And you can see here the transformer wires which have higher gauge wire. Alright, so there are 2 also in the back. Don't forget that this fuse is still disconnected, so we are doing this with safety. In case you are wondering what's going to happen with the bigger battery, well, it's going to take a lot more time to fully charge it, but it's also going to provide a bigger runtime when power goes out. Right, and until we are not going to actually put the cap back, I'm going to insert the fuse back in. Alright, and let's do a quick test, see if this thing still works. And we are going to address another issue. So if I'm going to power this on, take a lot of take a lot of care when you are doing this, because now you have here live mains power, so it can kill you. Alright, so this works. We have power, everything is fine. It's no longer beeping shortly because this has double the runtime right now, double than the original, so it's not even putting a high load on this battery. This battery should last a lot more time if it doesn't get also dried out. And another thing, you know, the annoying LEDs that actually you cannot control them. APC says in the manual that you can use the power button here, press it, keep it pressed, and the lights are going to dim. It's not doing that, and they are annoyingly bright. So there's one solution to make them a bit dimmer. You can actually pull this small plug here, and you have one LED here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. So at least I have disabled two of those, and at least it's not going to be that bright that it was previously was. And that's it. I cannot take them out unless I take the front panel out and unsolder the LEDs from the board. So good job with that, APC again. To put it back, you start from the back. You have this small rail here, so that should go in like that, so it slides in. Don't worry with the front right now. That's lined up. Now we are going to put it again on the side, and we are going to put it in that angle like this. Face goes in. Now back slides, and we have sealed it like the factory has. So you cannot replace the battery. No, we cannot replace the battery. And we are going to put the screws back, all four of them, and use the same special tool that only APC should use, because they want to sell you a battery that is almost as expensive as the whole UPS unit. All right. That's good. And don't forget the tiny black screw that goes here and keeps the face of the UPC on. And that's it. We have a fully working unit again, with an upgraded battery with almost 2 times more running capacity, and we replaced the original battery that was not replaceable. So that was it for now. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, you have learned something new, and until my next one, see you and bye bye.